Welcome to another episode of my RawCast. Today I'm taking you on a mini walk in my garden. So my creativity walk today is in my yard, walking up and down because I just got braces and I'm in pain, so I don't want to go out walk in the mountains and get really exhausted. So I'm taking you on a tiny walk in my garden. Today's topic is e-bikes and e-bike hate. I got this comment today below one of my videos. You ever see me on an e-bike clean my ears out with a bullet? And I've been getting e-bike hate for quite a long time, and also recently quite a few comments. So I wanted to talk about this because I want to talk about what I believe, what it's really about. Because 13 years ago, Bike, which is still one of the leading brands for e-bikes, literally gave me 3 e-bikes for my bike rental station. And I looked at them really scornfully. And I was like, who the heck would need an e-bike? Why would you want to ride basically a motorcycle out on the trails? And who would want to ride an e-bike if you can earn your climbs? It's just a motorcycle in disguise. And when I'm old enough, I'll ride one. So I was one of those e-bike haters back then because I just didn't know them. They were new, they were weird, and back then they weren't really beautiful either. They were heavy. So I really did not get the whole point of e-bikes. However, when I then started to ride them and I tried them, I started thinking about it a little differently. And when I started to become a psychological counselor, and when I worked through my own anger, and when I worked through my eating disorder issues and my hate issues, I noticed that scorn and hate, they are just a billboard for inner conflict. So I was projecting my inner unhappiness, my perceived unworthiness to the outside by defining my worthiness through being able to ride uphill like a boss, I was earning my climbs. So of course I looked upon people who needed an e-bike with scorn, with hate. I really thought e-bikes are for the lazy and that no one deserves props for having like 600 watts or whatever it was back then extra. So I totally get where these hateful comments come from. But the truth is, it's ego talk. It's the talk of the ego that is fighting to be heard. The ego just is crying loud to be validated. It's the ego saying, hey, look, I'm better because I have worked hard and I earn my climbs. E-bikes are just cheating. So back then, I put my ego aside and I tried e-bikes. And now I've come to realize that e-bikes, they are so much more than just motorized vehicles. I ride longer, harder trails and get a more intense full body workout when I'm riding my e-bike than I do when I'm out riding my normal bike. I train my anticipation and I train my skills because I ride uphill faster and I ride uphill much more technical stuff. I even train my skill finesse because the heavier e-bike needs better skills. You just can't compensate for a lack of skills with strength. There's just no way to muscle up a bunny hop with an e-mountain bike, especially not if you're light and petite like me and the e-bike almost weighs half of your body weight. So on the other hand, I do still see the dangers of them. I see people riding up hills they would never have ridden up to if it weren't for the e-bike. And I see people get to stuff without having the skills they would usually need to get there. And especially without the skills they then need to get down the stuff they rode up to. I do also see people at higher age with very little coordination and little strength on very heavy bikes, and they simply topple over and hurt themselves. So yes, of course, there are risks to these heavy, let's call them motorized vehicles, but we cannot blame the e-bike for people being naive. And the problem is not the e-bike. The problem is the unconscious incompetence of the people who are new to the sports. These people, they are unconsciously incompetent because they do not know what they don't know. You know, they buy the e-bike, they try to ride stuff they are not fit for, but that happens on normal bikes too. It's not the fault of the bike. And again, if you're projecting out hate, it's never the object of hate that is actually the problem. Bottom line is, e-mountain bikes, and mountain bikes in general, to be honest, they do not need to be dangerous. If we work on our skills, if we work our way up methodically, if we allow our body and our brain the time they really need to learn skills as an adult, and if we just go out and friggin' practice skills in a safe learning zone, and if we don't believe we'll just magically build skills by riding technical trails and technical stuff and crashing all the time, then e-mountain bikes and mountain bikes do not need to be dangerous. So, one more thing that I do want to add, if you're not the fittest person out there, why not practice with an e-bike? Why not use a little assist to help you out on the climbs so that you have the strength and the concentration to practice your skills on the downhills? You know, why not get a little help with a motor? If you can then ride with your friends, if you can ride with younger riders, or if you simply have more fun doing so, why not? Why allow the ego and the I'm better because I earn my climbs talk keep you from having even more fun on the trails? I'm not saying don't work on getting fit. I'm not saying that earning your climbs is a bad thing, but if for you mountain biking is about enjoying nature, or maybe it's about enjoying technical trails, or maybe it's about having a good time with friends, why not ride an e-bike? And why not allow other people to ride whatever the heck bike they want? Why judge people if they're riding an e-bike, if we're all out in the woods having a good time after all? One more thing that I noticed when I started riding an e-bike with other e-bikers was that it's just so much easier to ride in a diverse group. I rode with a group of friends for a while. We were 25 riders. We were aged, I'm not kidding, 17 to 81. And I was the only woman in there. I was somewhere in the middle age-wise. And some of the group, they turned the e-bike off, or they had it on echo mode, so the lowest mode for most of the climbs. And some were in turbo, so the highest mode, for all the way, just enjoying, having a great time. And so what? We were able to ride all together without waiting, and everyone got their individual workout. So this would never be possible on normal bikes. You know, we'd have to wait, some would need to walk their bike up, and we would not be able to chat along the way. So today I just want to create a little awareness for e-bike hate. If you feel like you're better than someone for not needing an e-bike, then as a psychological counselor, let me tell you, the issue here is not the bike. Give yourself and the other person some empathy. And I believe both you and the other person will get more out of it than your scornful look will bring good. After all, contributing to the pollution of hate with hate never brings good. So set yourself in vision, not division. And, you know, I like to say invite naysayers to meet you on higher ground, to admit that you're wrong is a sign of intellectual humility. And it's a true and very important part of being a good thinker to rethink and accept that you were wrong. And it's much, much better to admit that you were wrong late than to stick to wrongness longer. So maybe you can start today. So that's it from me today. The weird noise in the background is my cat eating. Sorry about that. I hope I've created value with this podcast for you. Leave me a comment, leave me a rating. I would so appreciate it. Sending you my love from Spain. I'm Roxy, and I hope to see you again for my next episode.